Global warming isn't real, the studies are misleading, and the data is inaccurate.
Earth's climate goes through periodic cycles. This isn't abnormal, it's natural.
Psh, what do these scientists know?
What do you mean the Earth is getting hotter? Did you see that snow last winter?
Despite decades of research dedicated to climate change, skepticism and denial still exist among many individuals and communities. Why is this the case? To understand how we got here, let's dive into the topic of climate change and the importance of climate-based science. First, let's address the current and historic discourse concerning Earth's climate. Among the scientific community, this concern emerges from a persistent and excessive burning of fossil fuels. The use of fossil fuels dates back to the Industrial Revolution in the late 18th to 19th century. Energy derived from fossil fuels enabled advanced industrialized production practices. Fossil fuels are formed from the remains of dead plants and animals. When burned for energy, they release greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. For the last 150 years, fossil fuels have been our primary source of energy. Since the 1950s, scientists have understood how greenhouse gases absorb and trap heat in the atmosphere, a phenomenon known as the greenhouse effect. The use of fossil fuels throughout the last century has led to unprecedented emissions of these greenhouse gases. Natural scientists fear that these atmospheric disturbances could initiate a domino effect, disrupting various natural systems and cycles of the Earth.
Okay, so the concern is that the planet is going to get hotter, global warming.
Yeah, well, sort of. It's a little...
I can't believe any of those claims. Those studies have unreliable data. Plus, not all places are experiencing rising temperatures. Global warming is fake news. Anyway, how would we know that we're causing this climate crisis?
Humans' impact on Earth's climate cannot be reduced merely to increasing temperatures. It's a little more complicated than that. In fact, it's a little weirder than that. Climate alterations have been recorded since the 1860s, and rising average surface temperatures pose a very real threat. In replacement of the older, clunkier term, inadvertent climate modification, the term global warming was originally coined in 1979 to address how greenhouse gases influence global temperature changes. The notion of global warming is often misunderstood to mean higher temperatures worldwide. Although this accounts for rising sea levels, general temperature increases, and melting glaciers and ice caps, it doesn't address the full scope of what's happening to Earth's climate. Increased intensity of storms, coastal ecosystem degradation, and extreme and unusual snowfall caused by changes in precipitation patterns don't neatly fit under the category of global warming. This serves as a basis for skeptics to claim that climate change as a whole is exaggerated or fake. Rather, our influence on Earth's climate can be more accurately described as global weirding. Regardless of what it's called, the human industrial processes that are driving excessive greenhouse gas emissions and disrupting Earth's atmospheric balance are posing real issues that we are facing today.
Global weirding? How does climate change make things weirder?
Global weirding refers to the complex and often unexpected changes in weather patterns and climate conditions associated with global warming. An area's climate and its weather are very different things, and when they're mistakenly made synonymous, people tend to reject the concept of climate change completely. Let's dive into the hard data to tell the underlying and unforeseen story of our changing climate. The absorption of carbon dioxide and increasing temperatures in oceans have caused once viable and flourishing reefs to become bleak graveyards of what once was. Without reefs, we have major losses in biodiversity and marine life. This abnormal heat is killing species and bleaching coral. These graphs depict how heat waves have changed in recent years. There's an increase in the frequency of heat waves, showing that they are not only hotter, but they're also occurring for longer periods. In July of 2023, Earth broke its record for the hottest day, 4 days in a row. The planet is experiencing more extreme and prolonged heat events, but heating is not the only weird weather we are encountering. A rise in erratic weather patterns induced by climate change includes occurrences of extreme snowfall too. Reports in December 2022 reveal Alaska experiencing the largest snowfall in more than 2 decades, and then again in November 2023, challenging the assumed effects of global warming. These are just a few examples of how the world's weather patterns are getting weird, something that is becoming ever more important to acknowledge.
Yeah, sure. We have some crazy weather and a few dead fish, and suddenly that means the world is ending. I've seen stuff like this in the news, and I turn it off because it sounds like nonsense. You're just trying to scare my children.
Sensationalized headlines like, "Is it safe to go outside? Navigating this cruel summer," or "Dramatic flooding is rare in Vermont capital. Expect it more amid climate change," make the future seem bleak. While apocalyptic adjacent events like Icelandic volcanic eruptions and huge fires decimating Hawaii occur, extreme headlines cause climate-related paralysis. This incites panic and fear, not lasting change. Positive environmental news is limited, with most climate reporting being on the negative impacts. Emphasizing environmental leaders and good climate news inspires people to engage in sustainability. The goal of climate justice should be to provoke change, not to frighten. The global weirding that we witness today has the potential to incite action. The current focus is moving towards net zero or carbon neutrality, which does not mean zero carbon emissions within a country. It means the greenhouse gases emitted are compensated by absorption or removal from the atmosphere. The Paris Agreement, a climate commitment on the world stage, works to limit temperature levels to 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit above pre-industrial levels. Although it is challenging, everything we've learned since the Industrial Revolution can be unlearned. Human strength lies in adaptation and resilience. The environment weirding all around us today is a greater threat to humanity than recognized, but there is still hope. Brilliant minds of today can construct sustainable solutions for global problems. There's no limit to what we can innovate, but the intentions behind them must be made clear. We must put sustainability, conservation, and environmentalism at the forefront of the world's mind. The public must accept global weirding is happening and feel empowered to do something about it. We cannot carry on with our established behavior and expect the climate crisis to resolve itself. Sitting in idle is choosing to let our climate fall to chaos. If the Earth's climate can change, so can we.